We know that the market don't like uncertainty, war, instability, and that is why we are seeing the market right now reacting. We see this very point, market tests this very area, and right now I am expecting market to come back all the way to the downside into this very area. I'll be breaking this down in this very video, and if you look at the ETH price action at this very point, market have that capability of coming all the way to the downside into this very point right here of $2,400, and that is what you need to pay attention to. I'll be going to the detail in this very video. And if you look at Pi have taken a major drop all the way to the downside into this very area of 0.40, and we see a bounce off, and right now market is going to come all the way to the downside. In my opinion, I'll be going into the detail in this very video, and the most important thing is that tomorrow is the Fed interest rate decision. Look at it right here. We have the federal fund rate, which the forecast right now is 4.50 basic point, which I believe will turn out to be the actual. There will be no rate cuts. And if you look at it, immediately after that is the FOMC statement and the press conference, which is very important. So all of this tomorrow is going to impact on what we're seeing on price action right now. Expect a massive drop all the way to the downside, plus the war in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. All of this, let's discuss in detail in this very video. The first thing here is the Bitcoin price action. As you all know, this very price action right here is very critical, because markets have been trying to push all the way to the upside, but we see on Friday, when that very preemptive strike by Israel occurred at this very point, okay, market dropped all the way to the downside. Of course, market was going down with that very rumor of that very attack from this very area. That was on Wednesday, and then it finally happened on Friday. At this very point, market dropped all the way to the downside, and then we see a little bit of recovery into this very area of 108k at this very point, and the market is coming back down right now. So what I am expecting to happen on this price action is for the market to come back down into this very area of important support. So market should come back down into this very level of important support. That is what I'm expecting on the one-day chart BTCUSDT from now moving forward. We know for sure that this very news from the Middle East, Israel and Iran, is not good for the market. In fact, entirely anything that brings panic into the market, uncertainty, war, instability, all of these things make the bears to control the market. The only thing that make bulls to control the market is stability and optimism. These two things will fuel the market to move it all the way to the upside when there is stability, number one, and secondly, when there is optimism in the market, then you will see the market begin to move all the way to the upside. But what we're seeing right now is not the same. The market have changed trajectory. That is why I am looking at the market coming back down, because of this uncertainty of war. And we are already seeing what is playing out already between Israel and Iran. All the instability is going to still feel the market coming back all the way to the downside, and plus this very Fed interest rate happening tomorrow. So this is what you need to pay attention to right now on the one-day chart. And on the 4-hour chart right here, which we have to look at something very different. If you look at it, market move upward from this very point all the way to the upside, and then from here market is coming back down. I am expecting that this very move continue all the way into this very area. Between this very point of 102k at this very point and $100k, this very area is where I am expecting the market to come into before the next move to the upside. So expect the market to come back down from where it is right now into this very region before the next move to the upside. This is very important so that you can be in the right direction of the market. This is what I am personally looking at right now on my price action. So for the one-day chart and the 4-hour chart, market is going to come back down. And if you look at the ETH chart, ETH is not moving as aggressive as Bitcoin is doing at the moment, which means ETH have a lot of momentum to the upside compared to BTC, and that is why I am not looking at aggressive drop on ETH compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin should drop faster and more compared to ETH. And if you look at this, market should come into this very area. This is what I am looking at on the ETH price action right now. Market should come back down into this very area of 2,400, 2,300 on ETH. This is my personal opinion. You may be looking at something very different, and that is very okay, because that is how price action works. So what I am looking at right now is for market to move down, especially if this very candle close bearish. The market is going to have that greater capacity of continuing into this very area, and a possibility of a breakout here is going to send us into this very area of $2,000. This is what I am not looking at on ETH/USDT 1-day chart price action. And if you come to the 4-hour chart, which is also very important, so that we know what is going on the 4-hour chart, you discover that the market right here is coming back down, and this very little level of important support is important for the market to break, for it to enter into this very region. So if we see that very breakout occur right here, which is very, very important, 80% chance is going to break and come back all the way into this very area. And that is what I am looking at right now. Market should come into this very point before any bounce off for retracement and then continuation back to the downside. Pay attention to this, is very, very important right now on the price of ETH moving forward. And this is what I am now looking at as well. So pay attention to this breakout. Once it happens, market is going to come into this very area of important support. So on ETH, expect the market to continue back all the way to the downside. Look at the Pi price chart at this very point. I was expecting that on the 1-day chart on Pi, market should come back down, grab liquidity from here, but the worst happened as a result of the war between Israel and Iran. If you look at this very area, market come back all the way to the downside on Friday, and then we see that grab of liquidity from this very point, and the market bounce off. Right now, market is coming into the same point again. I believe strongly that the market have that capability of coming all the way to the downside, okay, approaching this very area of 0.40. This is what I am now looking at right now. This very point is very, very important, because anytime you see a spike in the market and market bounce off from a particular level, ask yourself, why do price bounce off from that very level? In the case of Pi right here, market come all the way to the downside into this very point. Why do price bounce off from this very point of 0.40, 0.41? Why? And come all the way into this very area is because there are a lot of buyers at this very point that were willing to buy as well and push the price all the way to the upside from this very point. So that means this very area is very, very important to buyers, and that is why I am expecting market to come back down, move upward, come back, approaching this very area. We're going to see a bounce off from this very point again, which is very, very important. This is what you must have to pay attention to, especially if you're mining Pi and if you are trading Pi. These have changed my directional bias. Before now, I was looking at the market moving all the way to the upside from this very point, especially if we see a breakout on this very level of resistance. But the war between Israel and Iran have made the pattern on this very price action change drastically. Look at it. From this very area, I was expecting the market to move upward, but as a result of that very war, the market began to react to that very news, because uncertainty built up on Wednesday and to Friday when that very war actually kickstarts. From this very area, this was Wednesday with this very candle, and we have Thursday, Friday right here. So that changed the trajectory of this very pattern. And this very chart, from what I am seeing on price action, market is going to move all the way to the downside, and it's going to be very bad for Pi. And this is what I am personally looking at right now, because you may be looking at something very different, and that is also very okay. So from here, expect the market to come back all the way to the downside, approaching this very point of 0.40. And this is what I am looking at right now. Pay attention to this, guys, to be in the right direction of the market right now. And if I switch back a little bit to the 4-hour chart, it is covered that the 4-hour chart that is very bearish. Look at it right here. Market come all the way to the downside. Okay, we see this drop to the downside, and then this very push all the way to this very point. Market retrace upward, and then continuation is in again, which means market is going to come into this very point where we are right now, and then come all the way to the downside, because that is very important. The possibility is very high, 80% possibility market is going to break this very little support at this very point and begin to come all the way to the downside. Pay attention to this to be in the right direction of the market, because this is very important. And if you come to coin market cap, you discover that the global crypto market capitalization have gotten a hit, and the liquidity have come back down significantly to $3.28 trillion. Look at it right here. And for the past 24 hours, we've seen 2.48% decrease. And right now, the fear and greed index at this very point still neutral, but I believe if market begin to gain momentum gradually, market is going to come back to the greed area. And if you look at the trending coin right here, Bitcoin is actually trending not because it's increasing all the way to the upside, is because it's coming all the way to the downside. Look at the price action right at this very point, is moving aggressively to the downside, which we should see because of uncertainty. Not only that, we are now expecting Fed to keep interest rate unchanged tomorrow, which is a high possibility, and this is what I am looking at right now. Now, you'll be looking at Fed cutting interest rate. That is a possibility as well, but Fed cutting interest rate is not on the high side. It's on the high side that they are going to keep it unchanged, because for the past 6 months they've been keeping interest rate unchanged, which I am expecting them to keep it unchanged as well. And the FOMC meeting, of course, will be positive sentiment, and market from that is going to bounce off after this very week of trading. So for this very week of trading, since there is a lot of uncertainty in the market, please look at market coming all the way to the downside, be it 1-day chart, 4-hour chart, ETH/USDT, BTCUSDT, or BYUSDT. Market should come all the way to the downside this very week. Is very important, okay, to pay attention to this so that you be in the right direction of the market. The bulls will not control the market this very week, in my personal opinion. Next week, and then we see how geopolitics now play out before we can say market is going to begin to climb gradually all the way to the upside. And we are waiting for President Trump to actually take a decision on this very Middle East issue. All of this in the pipeline is gathering the momentum of uncertainty, also fearing the market coming all the way to the downside, which is what we need to pay attention to right now to be in the right direction of the market as traders and investors. Consider supporting this channel by leaving a like for this video, subscribe if you have not, and turn on the bell notification for more crypto videos like this one. Also check the channel for other crypto content. Join our Telegram channel, link in the description of this very video, and also in the pinned comment for more crypto update. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.